नमस्ते दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है सेहतशाला के डॉक्टर टॉक में। मैं उम्मीद करती हूँ कि आप सभी लोग स्वस्थ हैं, तंदुरुस्त हैं और मुस्कुरा रहे हैं। तो चलिए इंटरव्यू की शुरुआत करते हैं।
So, I would like to start with a short introduction to who Mr. Prashant is. He started out as this boy with a big dream from Gurgaon, went on to become the IIT Delhi alumni. After that, he secured his MBA from Stanford University and today is the founder of 2 health brands in the healthcare industry. So, let's welcome Mr. Prashant Tandon with a round of applause. So thank you and welcome, Mr. Prashant, to you. So first of all, we would like to begin with your journey from Gurgaon to Stanford. How has that been?
So of course, it's been an eventful, fun journey. I think I actually grew up in Delhi. So West Delhi is where I grew up.
Okay.
Gurgaon is where the 1MG and health card offices are. Studied, school was Delhi, then IIT Delhi. Then I worked with Unilever for a couple of years as a part of their business leadership program. I was actually running a factory in Maharashtra as a production manager. Then I moved into the innovation team for Lux, which was a Pan-Asia role. And then wanted to get into business and applied to business school and was lucky to get into Stanford. So 2005 is when I went to Stanford. So that was the short journey.
Okay. So can you share with us the journey of 1MG and how it came into being?
Yes. So 1MG, actually, the journey starts from 2009 when I came back to India with Samir. And initially what we were trying to build was a practice management software for doctors. Our first company was called, it was called Health Chakra. So in some ways, so this is my 1MG is the third startup, but in some ways it is the same thing kind of in a continuum. So when we started that, we were creating a prescription software for doctors as a part of our practice management solution. Then over a period of time, we figured that is a very hard market. It will take a lot of time before doctors are using technology, all of that. But we had created a database of all the medicines to enable doctors to do easy prescription. So that database was ready and was lying with us. Our business model changed. We decided to go into direct to consumer healthcare. 2011 launched Health Card. Then in 2012 September, when the mobile app ecosystem was just starting, we wanted to, we felt we have this very interesting database of medicines where all substitutes, how much a user can save by if they go to a substitute, all that information was there. Technology had evolved, apps were taking off. Let's do something interesting. So did it just for kicks. It was never aimed to be a new business. It was just that we had done a bunch of work that we felt was very useful for the community. So let's put it out there and dekha jayega. And it was just he wanted to do something in core healthcare besides running health cart at that time. We put that app out and it just went viral. People started sharing with each other. This is a great service. You should always look up Health Card Plus, it was called, before you take medicines. You can save 60, 70, 80%, this, that. And suddenly it turned out that we were also surprised that so many people in the country actually want to read about medicine, side effects, interactions, and check their prices and substitutes and all that. And that thing kept growing and took a life of its own. And what we figured then in around end of 2014 was that it was by far the largest health app of the country that it had become. Around at that time, 1.5 million downloads. And Health Card was the second largest health app at around 50,000 downloads. So something was happening and we thought, okay, now we have an opportunity. Let's build what we wanted to build when we started the first venture was, we thought that digitization of the ecosystem will happen with the doctor in the center. That moved to that, okay, we can get that entire digital health benefit with actually the patient at the center, and patients are using 1 mg Health Card Plus. So then we demerged it out of the parent company. So now Health Card is a separate independent company in e-commerce, and 1mg is the digital health platform. So that's kind of how it grew. We just followed the opportunity as it evolved.
Correct, correct. So, as you mentioned about health card, so we would like to know about a little bit about health card as well. Like, how did that idea come into being?
So when we were working with doctors, 1 year, 2009, 2010, we just spent time working in doctors' clinics, trying to get them to use our softwares. We had some 50 doctors who bought our software and were using it in a little way. Um, and what we learned was that there was actually a pretty decent access problem. Um, People would come to meet a doctor from small tier 2, tier 3 towns, Saharanpur, Meerut, ye wo, Bulandshahr, and they'll be coming to Delhi, and then they will be asking ki, how do you get the medicines and all the products and all, and the doctor would say ki, wo kisi bhi chemist ke mil jayegi, but for the patients they had to get somebody from Delhi to ship it to them, or somebody had to come, or they had to buy bulk. And it was e-commerce was taking off. There was clearly, and then we studied the market, the supply chains for a lot of health products, not necessarily medicines, but a lot of products is actually fairly weak and only in the metros. So now, if we thought e-commerce provides a pretty decent opportunity, because most of the products, or many of the products in healthcare, there's an importer, then there is a distributor, then there's a dealer, then there's a sub dealer, then the retailer. Too many intermediaries. So we thought ki e-commerce is taking off. India should probably have an e-health store, and that is how Health Card kind of came into being. Pehle it came as a broader health play, but very quickly we realized that for it to make competitive sense, we should stick to categories that we have a differentiation in, because a lot of the categories, it was very clear that horizontal platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, Paytm, etc., will be better suited to operate in. And nutrition came out as the category where we had a very clear differentiation. And our clear differentiation was that we stood for authenticity. So nutrition became our core category. We doubled down into it, went deeper, created our own brands, own products, proprietary formulations, etc., etc. And we became known as the platform where you get authentic nutrition supplements. And that's how Health Card kind of evolved into what it is. And today it is around 130 offline stores, online stores. 70-80% of the business comes from brands that we manufacture ourselves. So now it is it's more like a nutrition company than a retailer.
Okay, so you told us about e-commerce and you were talking about digital health. So how do you think e-commerce back then and digital health now, has changed or evolved over the years?
So the initial phase of e-commerce in healthcare, like what we did with Health Card, did not have medicines or any of the medical side of things. It had products that were more in the consumer health side. So nutrition, personal care, baby care, those kinds of things. So which is a problem very easy to solve through e-commerce. When it comes to digital health, it becomes more nuanced, because now you're talking about medical part of the things. There are prescriptions, there are doctors, there are more regulations that you have to learn about and be careful about. And so we do e-pharmacy, e-diagnostics, and e-consultations. And we have a very large and evolved quality assurance and medical affairs team. So those are the things that you need when you get into a healthcare side of business or a health tech. So that is where the differences come. So and it is a heavily regulated category. So you need to understand and work with the regulations all the time. So that's where the difference is. But for a patient also, when it comes to digital healthcare, the value of the data is very different. What you can do with that is very different, and the nuance about the user that we learn just by their search, by their prescription, is a lot more than traditional e-commerce allows.
Correct. So as you mentioned some time ago about collecting data from the doctors, how important do you think today it's changed the perspective from it being coming from a doctor to now patients are also, like you said, on they are exploring a lot on 1mg. So how has the shift come about?
So I think patients have been looking and अभी क्या हुआ है कि the fact is that patients are looking for more and more information.
Correct.
And they go all over internet looking for information.
True.
In that context, the value of a platform that they can trust for their health information becomes high. At 1mg in the last 12 months, we had around 660 million unique users on the platform. So that's 16 crore. It's almost 12 to 15% of the country we are talking. And so a lot of people come on 1mg as the default place to read about medicines and information on diseases, etc. So that was a need in the market that doctors are having very, very limited time to explain things to patients, and patients today want to learn more and more, and they are suspicious, they are curious, they are unsure, they just want to go all over internet and find more things. So we have emerged as a platform they trust for their information, and that is where the core value is.
Correct. So how did the name 1mg come to you, and what was the vision behind it?
So the name 1mg, it used to be Health Cart Plus. We wanted to move into our own separate identity. We wanted it to be a new age, modern, small name made for the app ecosystem.
Correct.
Health Card Plus, though, on the app, the full name also wouldn't come. It was just too long a name. And it was we wanted to make a clear statement that it is no longer just a plus on health card. It is a very distinctive business. Now, short name, we wanted a medical connotation. We wanted something that is that can extend to multiple categories, that is not limiting in some ways, and it's not a kind of a generic name.
Correct.
Like health card is a generic e-commerce name.
Something that keeps with the people.
So we got all our entire management team into one room and started throwing out names, different ideas. And one of the team members came up with we are into medicine, so why not use a number? So why not 100 mg or something like that? So then I asked agar number use karna hai to 100 kyun, then let's be number one in what we do, and how about 1 mg? And people at that time got enthusiastic about it. Our address at that time was 1 Airoli Gurgaon Road, so we were on 1 mg road. So we thought, chalo ye bhi achhi baat hai. And on top of that, most importantly, the domain name was available. The trademark was clear. So we're like, okay, all stars are aligning. Let's try this out. And at that time, it seemed like a random risk, but I think it played out fairly well for us.
Oh, lovely. So you have been a founder of not one, but two startups, which, like you said, it was just an experiment with which you all started, and now it's become so big. So what are the challenges that you faced as a founder or as an entrepreneur?
धन्यवाद दोस्तों, वीडियो के अंत तक जुड़े रहने के लिए लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और बेल बटन दबाना ना भूलिए। दोस्तों, अगर आपको कुछ कहना है तो जरूर कहिए इन द कमेंट्स बिलो। वी आर वेटिंग टू हियर यू। मैं हूं शुल्का चौहान और आप देख रहे हैं सेहतशाला।